Go stupid. Act crazy.
Hey.
Get stupid. We get crazy. Go get stupid. Go crazy. Get stupid. She crazy. He stupid. His lady. He clueless.
Wait, hold on. We gotta start over.
Wow, what happened? What you did?
You been snapped.
I see y'all. I'm gonna bring y'all in 1 minute.
I've been in and out of love before. Plenty of women, they didn't come and gone. I really
J.I.
didn't
Reynolds.
have nothing for
Yeah, we about ready to get started. We're a little early tonight, but we here. Well,
can't do what you do. So enticing the way your body moves. And you
there
don't
she is.
even try.
How you doing?
You really just a flying. Damn, I'm
Zeke in the building.
What's good, everybody? What's good? What's good?
I love it when you fucking walk away.
We're just getting the acoustics.
My little freak me, hit me with
I can't hear you.
sneak peek. While I made
I
us a
can't see y'all on the other side.
You gotta go back out and come back in because we can see each other.
Okay.
Chris in the building. Chris, I need to talk to you too, bro. You need to call me.
My little baby boo, never want a nigga save you like these others do.
There we go.
That's why it's undebatable.
There we go.
Making money move. You even like to spoil your nigga too, and that's why I never had nothing for him. Just so you know, they ain't got nothing on you. Can't do what
Is that better? Can you see us now?
So enticing the way
Can you see us now?
and you don't even try.
Zeke, can you see us?
Yeah, I can see Kareenia.
You can't see me?
I cannot see you.
That's weird because I see him.
It's kind of big. Oh, you're working, so okay. All right, I'll call you. I'm kind of big to miss, bro. Can't miss me. I don't. But you can see me, right?
I can see you.
Okay.
Hold on, man. We gotta get this thing together.
Yeah, well.
What are you using?
You the odd man out.
Yeah, hold on.
Go back in. I told you to get an iPhone. Leave the Androids alone.
Hey, listen, man. Don't be talking about my Android. Hey, listen, on my Android, you shout out to y'all right now. Hold on, we gonna do this one more again. One more again.
You can't see all of me. Oh yeah, we're gonna have a good show tonight. You look rather dapper Dan there, Missy. Casual.
I'm nervous. Don't judge.
What you nervous about?
But I have to start getting used to it too.
Yeah, you got it, because Pop's gonna put you on blast tonight.
I know.
Now, can you see both of us now? Put another quarter in the jukebox.
Pops, I can't see you, man. I can see Kareenia, but I can't see you.
Lefty, I see you in the building. Nino.
That's so weird.
Yeah, well, I tell you what.
It's all good. It's all good.
You sure?
We'll roll with it.
I'll start the whole thing over. You know, I ain't got no problem with that.
I mean, if you need to, if you want to see all of us in there, then that's fine. But
well, I can see you though. You just can't see us.
No, I just can't see Pops. That's the only difference. I just can't see Pops.
Well, take a picture out or something. You got me?
I know, right? It's all good. It's all good. All right, well, we in here, man.
We just waiting on Fit for Other People.
Right. So you might have to send him a request. I told him he was on at 8 tonight.
So shoot the what you call it to him.
I can't.
You go that iPhone again. I mean,
I'm in the live. What you mean? You can't do that. You can't do that with iPhone. You can't even do it with iPhone. You can't shoot a message.
I just did. I shot the arrow. I shared it with him. I said.
Oh yeah. Never mind. My fault. Yeah.
Instagram lessons are Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8:30.
I see y'all.
Now you can
shout out to all my people right now joining the live, man. What's up? This your man DJ
Everybody
Z.
Come
shout
on
out
in.
My man Pops. You know what I'm saying? Pops Gems. Kareenia. the amazing Blackheart. Y'all make sure y'all check her out. She's gonna be phenomenal right now. It's a lot going on.
All right. Well,
Shout out to my man Marc, my body, my business partner.
just like a DJ. Okay, you joined Mark my body. Now request to come into the live, and I'll bring you in, and then we'll get the show started. Because I see him in
There
there.
we go. Okay.
I have no request. Okay.
Business partner, jump in here, man. Let's go. Let's cook.
You've been invited. Look, all y'all coming in, thank you, and thank you again. I see you. If I don't wave at you, I'm waving now. This one universal wave for everybody, because we're doing multiplistic things over here. We got y'all see me though, right? Let me plug my pop.
You're getting blurry now.
Who?
You. Pop.
That's your reception, because I'm clear. Mark, you got a request to come in so we can get you in here. I have no request as of yet, sir. All right, here we go. Y'all know I do not own the rights to this music. Okay, but
A good evening.
I do not attempt to adjust your radio. There is nothing wrong.
We have taken control as to bring you this special show. We will return it to you as soon as you are grooved.
It's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you.
When I was on rhyme to step two, think of how many weak shows you slept through. Time's up. I'm sorry I kept you. He's unable to join. Why, Mark? Mark, go out and come back in.
In real quick, hey, play on words, pops and pops gems. You know, coming up, we got pops perspective.
Let's tell you what it is. Say you
PYT Haley in the building. I see you.
Life is a gift, but sometimes we need guidance. Pops perspective, always perfect timing. Call that
That's what's up.
Yeah, he gon' drop them gems. You know he really him. It's something about his confidence that let you know he hasn't seen.
You don't want to miss. Don't meet me there, beat me up. Pops perspective, Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here we are once again and again and again, Monday night, the 4th of November. I see my people coming in. Shout out to all the people coming in. Yo, you ever had a feeling something was just going to be awesome? Yeah, I just got that feeling. What you mean you can't hear me? You better turn your phone up because we can hear. Everybody can hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay,
There you go.
Cool. All right.
I'm here. I'm here. What's up,
Good.
Brent? I'm here.
All right. Before we get started, as you know, we got to pay our dues. We give honor to God, who's ahead of our life, first and foremost. Without him, none of this would be possible. Definitely want to shout out God and thank him for yet another opportunity to share with people what he's embedded in us, because everything that you share is just a life experience. But nevertheless, Mark, a few extra minutes, that's fine. We can give him a few extra minutes. We got what we call a monologue. See, when I designed Pops Gems, and it kind of flows right into it, I wanted it set up on the premises of a monologue, of a show, of a talk show. And so, oh, you couldn't hear? Okay, I got you. And so when I put it together, when God gave me the vision to put it together, I have a certain order. So first and foremost, shout out to God, as I said, and then my boys in the chat, left hand Lacey, lefty _ global for Pops, exotic Pops, and Lady Jasmine in the building. Hola, exotic Pops. If you have not tasted an exotic pop, you got to get one. They're at 4119 South OBT, Orange Blossom Trail. They're at 4400 County Road 19A. And go see Tashanti. She's out there at Mount Dora while you get your wig did. You can get your pop, tell them Pop sent you. And then 5311 East Colonial Drive, Pops and Snacks. So definitely support, shout out to them. Okay, here we go. Wait a minute. You know, if I put my glasses on, I might
Wow.
see some things.
My man said when I throw the glasses
There we go.
on.
All right, now we full deep. All right, welcome, sir. Welcome, sir. Yeah,
The gang is here.
How's everybody is in the building.
How's everybody doing?
Everybody's doing well. Okay, so let me finish this, and then what I'm gonna do is we're gonna get started. We got a good topic tonight. We definitely want to give it as much airtime as possible, but we're not afraid of a part two. All right, so as I was saying, Y'all like the hat? That's my plug for my next sponsor. You see that? Pops Gems. And then the Pops Gems pin. Now, excuse me. Now, everybody that comes on my show, I have these pins made. They glow in the dark, nice pins. And so, with the help of Zeke, I'm gonna get y'all a pin as a guest.
You.
I appreciate
And because I
that.
came out, I
That
was
means a
gonna
lot.
sell them. I was gonna sell them, and I said, you know what? No, bless the people. Now you ain't gonna get the hat with it. This is a 101, but you can get the pin. They glow in the dark, and just some memorabilia, you know, so you can remember old Pops on Pops Gems. But I couldn't have done it without my son, all seasons, and he has some mad apparel coming out. Create the Panic, uh, Change the Perspective. He has his own clothing line, and he's at www.allseasons with a Z .shop, and you can go there. You can find the pins there, and you can find some other apparel. And I don't just promote him because he's my son. I promote him because number one, he has a hot product. Number two, we as melanated people need to support one another. The Jewish dollar revolves around the neighborhood 13 times before they go outside. That's a show for another day. But shout out to All Seasons. For those of you that were listening while we was doing our sound check, Jay Iris, my youngest son, got his own track as JA1RUS. Definitely want to send a shout out to him. And then can I reach him? Yes. When we first started the show, and Pierre, I think you remember, I had some candles made called Pop's Perspective, and they were layered. And the reason, I mean, I got with a lady, she made the holder, everything from scratch, and then we went together on the set. And I said, I want some lavender, I want some jasmine, I want some vanilla. She was like, oh, you know your flavors. I said, yeah. And so I'm thinking she's going to mix them. But what she did is she made layers. And the reason she made layers, she goes, because it's like your show. The deeper y'all get in the conversation, the layers change and the atmosphere change. So those is cool. Now we got through those, but I'm coming up here just after the turn of the year, probably for I want to say for Valentine's Day, we're going to come up with another candle. It's going to be called Pop's Gems. And so, of course, shout out to all y'all coming in. So, of course, we definitely want y'all to get one. We'll put the information up. So those are made by Lakai Homes. That's LAKIAHOLMES. And I know I'm going to be going a little fast, but watch the tape. Whatever you miss, it's just like a good movie. You don't get it all the first time. You go back the second time, you say, I didn't know that happened. Yeah, I must have went to the bathroom on that part. But so we got the tapes. So anyway, shout outs. And then, of course, my biggest shout out is to you. I used to call them followers, but now I call them gemologists. All of you who took time aside and, thought it not robbery to give me a little bit of time. Because like I've said before, there's two things you can never get back, and that's time and words. Once they out there, they out there. And we did a show about the power on words. And, so you say something, you hurt somebody, you could say, I'm sorry. That's like the Band-Aid. But when you take the Band-Aid away, the scar is still there. So watch your words. That was a short little plug for the show. All right. Tonight, I see a lot of people coming in that I do not know. So welcome. This is Pops from Pops Gems. Excuse me. And Pops Perspective. So basically, to give y'all because a lot of y'all predominantly new, what we did is we put this show together, and I thought about all the different podcasts that were out there, and there's a lot of them that do a lot of things. But my statement, my mission, so it gives you an ideology of where we're headed, is a positive perspective produces positive progressions. Your mindset has to be, and when I say progress, don't confuse like Denzel said, progress with movement. You can stand in one place and don't go nowhere, but you're moving. Progression is when you're actually putting one foot in front of the other. Our objective is just to have thought-provoking conversations that'll stimulate the mind and cause for a deeper look into life's issues, searching for positive outcomes, and generational curse breakers. I'm going to do a show about that. Also, to help one have a deeper understanding of self and one's purpose in life. So that basically, I put the show together because there's a lot of people out there talking a lot of trash. I avoid super controversial subjects that have no value. And I'll say it this way, and Pop said it, like the whole Diddy thing. I could do a show about the whole Diddy thing, but to what avail? Yeah, see, it's not gonna profit. All we doing is sitting around talking about what we think, what they think, what he said, she said, and at the end of the day, we've wasted time. Like I told you, time you can't get back. Time is something that is afforded, and every one of us has an expiration date. And so I don't know when my date is, and so I'm like, I got to use the time that I have, because when the expiration date comes, I got to go. So we've done a lot of shows, and Pierre's been, I call him Pierre, y'all got to excuse me. He's been on a lot of the shows. He's been very supportive. We're down like 4 flat tires. We go back like 8-track. And so we was talking, and we came up with a topic, because we've had, like I said, a lot of controversial topics. And we came up with a topic, and that is, the Riddick, I see you, about women and men. We've done topics before, like, could you be in a relationship when your significant other has a best friend of the opposite sex? We've done co-parenting. What are your limitations, if any, boundaries, if any? So there's been some very controversial subjects, things about that people don't normally talk about. So tonight we want to talk about, the topic was, do you want a relationship or a Build-A-Bear? So let me elaborate on that a little bit. When we was talking about a Build-A-Bear, for those of you who don't know, those of you who live in Florida and other places, you can go to the store, you could pick a bear and build it to the way you want it to be. And in today's society, and I don't want to put it all out there, but in today's society, there's a very and mind you, these are Pop's perspectives. So if you don't like what I say, tune in next week. We'll say something else. There's so much volume, there's so much weight based on idiosyncrasies for a relationship. And I say that from a wisdom, from a senior standpoint of going through life. We value too many things that really should have no value when it comes to relationships. And this is what I feel. And especially when, you get into it, there's all y'all coming in. Thank you. Welcome, welcome. Especially when you get into the extent of a certain age for women, definitely a certain age for men, and what they expect out of a relationship. But the biggest, I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to let Zeke introduce his guest. There's been a big influence by society, not only social media, but society, that mandates us to, or manipulates us to make certain choices based on what society has set as a standard. And there's so many people that are missing out, and there's so many people that are going through things that they really don't have to entertain, because they made a decision based on what other people think. And I've said this before: when you live your life to concern about what other people think, you're not living your life. You're living a life for them, because you're restraining your real desires to try to meet their expectations so that you can be in the in crowd. And so, that being said, my friend, my partner, a good friend of mine, he said, "Pops, I got 2 people to be on the show." And so I don't know them. I mean, we look like we got kindred spirits, you know what I'm saying? We so far so good. They ain't blacked out yet. So, but I don't know them enough to get them and introduce them. So Pierre, like I said, good friend of mine, entrepreneur, DJ, all around great guy. For you single women out there, I don't know. Wait, are you in a relationship? Because I don't want to get you in trouble. No?
No.
Okay. So for all you single women out there, you want a man that's headstrong about doing what's right, you might want to, submit an application. It'll be kept on file for 30 days. If you don't hear back from the office, you're welcome to reapply. But I turned it over to him. He's going to introduce the 2 guests that we have tonight, and then we're going to go right into it, head first.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I greatly appreciate that, Pops. Thank you so much, man. Shout out to my family joining in right now. Shout out to Stefano, got him Grails, DJ Headbuster, baby, like everybody welcome, man. Thank y'all for tuning in and locking in with your boy. I've got two amazing people right now. Shout out to, first and foremost, I got to give credit to the amazing Kareenia at the very top. For those of you who are looking at your screen, Kareenia is an amazing young lady. Met her through some mutual friends. Just became a kindred spirit very, very quickly. So she's got some great things in the works right now. An amazing fashion line about to drop. Y'all make sure y'all tune in to Black Heart. It's going to be real exclusive right now. So shout out to Kareenia for joining us. And then, of course, my ace, my homie. We go way back, man, back to a long time ago, almost 10, 15 years, almost now. Feels like it. Shout out to my man, Marc, my body, fitness for the people. Listen, this has been my business partner since, good God, like 2014, 15. Start off with a small vision, and, man, we've expanded beyond some great things. So definitely brought him on the show to get a perspective as well on this topic. So Pops, I'm gonna let you kick it off. Let you start with the first question. Go for it.
Thank you so much, and welcome to the show. Now, for those of you in Instagram land, you've heard of the names of the people, but it's a poor frog that doesn't praise his own pond. So what I want you to do, Kareenia, and then I don't know what to call you, Mr. Marc, my body, Mr. Fit for the People, PE. But what I want you to do, go ahead.
You can call me Marc or Marcus or Fit for the People. It really doesn't matter.
All right, cool. And then after the show, we're going to get with you because I had a whatever they call them things that jump in your head. But Ms. Kareenia, tell the people a little bit about you. And if you have a special thing that you want to plug, please, sir, please, ma'am, pin it in the chat. Put it in the chat so the people can see it throughout the show, and they can patronize you if you have a website or what have you. But Ms. Kareenia, tell the people a little bit about yourself.
So, hi, my name is Kareenia. I am starting a new business called Black Heart. It symbolizes and promotes Black businesses around the positivity. So that's why I started laughing when you started talking about yourself, because I was like, oh my God, that's what I'm doing. So I'm trying to make a clothing line around it, but I really want to promote other businesses, small businesses, big businesses. In the long run, I want to give back to the community. I want to make a difference for everybody so that, you know, we're shining light on us. Like, it's always negative, and I want to change the light of how we're viewed. So again, that's what I'm going to do. I dropped my Instagram down there. My Facebook says my real name, Kareenia Henderson, if you want to follow that. My Instagram is New York Heart. It wouldn't let me do certain things with all these websites, so all of them have something different for right now, but I'll be going to collaborate them, and it's going to be Blackheart 444KH.
Cool. Welcome to the show. Mr. Marc?
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me on the panel tonight. I just wanted to, first and foremost, give God all the glory, because without him, none of us would be here, and none of this would be possible. I'm just excited to share, you know, any information and opinion on the topic of tonight, and just more or less pick everybody's brain, give people an idea of what we the people feel, you know, is going on, and what we ultimately feel like we're going to do about it, and how we're going to move forward as unity. You know what I'm saying? I feel like everything at this point in this day and age has to be about helping one another and promoting one another, because without the Black dollar, without each and every individual doing their part, we don't get heard. You know, our voices, once again, go out there and vote tomorrow if you haven't already, because your vote does matter, your voice does matter. As long as you're here on earth, you know, you have a purpose. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just trying to tap into mine. Having a walk with the Lord, you know, and having a relationship with him first and foremost gives you a lot of clarity on a lot of things of what you want to do and how you want to approach things. And I felt like your approach is everything when it comes to dealing with people, when it comes to dealing with business, when it comes to dealing with, you know, just this world that we live in. You have to be able to make connections, and genuine connections at that. That's what's going to ultimately allow it to last for the long haul, as well as the relationship, which is what topic we're going to be speaking on tonight. So I just want to say I'm excited, and I again appreciate you guys having me. If you guys want to follow me, my fitness page is Fit for the People Fitness. I'll go ahead and put it in the chat now. I do freelance personal training. I used to work for a company, a gym, local gym, but then I wanted to kind of do my own thing and just promote myself, because I feel like you don't always necessarily need somebody to promote you, especially when it's your business. Anything that you own, not only should it have your name on it, but you should be running things. You shouldn't be having somebody else tell you how to do it. You know, that's what makes it yours. That's what makes it genuine. You know what I mean? Because it's coming from the source itself. You know, I could speak on any one of you three, but if I'm not going to the source, do I really know what's going on with you? I don't. So I'd rather hear it from the horse's mouth, which is why I'm glad we are seeing each other's faces right now. You know what I mean? We're able to speak on these things, and people see us and know that we're real. This is a real. These are real people, and this is a real life that we're living, and we just want to make sure that we're trying to encourage as many as possible, you know, and allow them to learn from us too. That way, people aren't making the same mistakes. You know what I mean? Not saying we're making mistakes currently, but we're all going through something that we're challenged by, you know, or that does challenge us. And part of success is what? Failure. Failure is part of success. So you have to be able to fail in order to succeed. So that means you're going to have to make some mistakes. So with that being said, you know, I don't know about you guys, but I'm taking notes tonight. Whatever's being said, I'm taking notes because it might be giving me a different perspective that I didn't already have. It might open my eyes up to things that I never even thought of, you know, or even recognized. You know, that's the beauty of having more than one perspective. You get in more than one viewpoint on something, and you can tackle it in more than one angle. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and thank you for tuning in tonight. Good night. He said it all. We can just go home. No, great. So much is going through my mind. And so I want to say this for those of you that are watching. If you want to see the repeat, we're also on YouTube. I forgot to plug that. When you go to YouTube, just type in @PopsGems, no underscore, and you see the page. All the shows are there. So tonight, after tonight, this will be on there too. All right. Relationship. Let's just get right into it. And yes, thank you. Grab a pen and a pad. You know, a short note beats a long memory, as my pastor used to say. And when you learn to dealing with relationships, it's a broad subject, but it's very simplistic by the same token. If you break the word down, relation, and what you're doing is you're having relation, and I'm not talking about Eddie Murphy in the movie, talking about having relations, that kind of relations. I'm talking about two people that have decided to cohabitate in the same space. And I'm not talking about moving in. This is with anything. When you enter into any kind of agreement with an individual, you have started what they call a relation with that individual. Then it's in a ship. And I'll say this, a lot of times it's not the water outside, it's the water inside that sinks the ship. So you have to be careful who you let into your relationship. And that'll make sense in a minute as we go into it. So in this day and age, well, let me speak from where I came from. From where I came from, and it was a whole different type of dating game. And it's unfortunate that nowadays, like I said in the onset, society has had such an implement on relationships, so many standards that are set that if you choose to use your own mind, it almost makes you feel like you're out of sequence because there's so many, there's so many to-dos. However, Mark said something very, very, very profound. You must first have a relationship with your creator. And why? And I say creator because, again, I'm a Christian. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus, all that. But I don't, whatever your higher power is or whatever your source is, however you want to do that, that's up to you. But you must have an in-depth understanding of who created you, because by doing that, you have a better understanding of who you are. And in order for you to get into a relationship with somebody else, you have to know who you are. And the reason is because you have to know what you will accept and what you won't accept. You have to know your standards. You have to know your trigger points. You have to know how much of how vulnerable you're going to be and how fast you're going to be. Because if not, you're just like a train with no locomotive. You're just speeding down a track, and anything that jumps on, or you're just gonna bulldoze it over. The reason that I'm glad that we have a female is because the female perspective for men has changed over the years. Now, like I said, back in my day, if you wanted to date a young lady, you dated her. It was called courting. And what they did was, if you found a young lady, y'all kind of liked each other, you was making googly faces at one another, then you would be the man and you would go to her parent, preferably her father, and you would say, "Hey, my name is such and such, and I like your daughter. I would like to get to know your daughter better, but I want your blessing." And so we're talking all the way back to there's people in the chat probably saying, "What?" Yes,
What is
because
that? Right.
yeah, what courting, man? You better meet me at the bus stop. But it showed the respect to the family, to the father, what type of an individual we are. Because as a father, fathers are concerned. Well, how you gonna treat my daughter? And a lot of the reason is because we were young at one point in time. See, and that's the thing you have with fathers. When you go to dealing with the father of the young lady, you got to remember that he was a man before he had her. So there's nothing that you're gonna come at him with that's gonna be any different. So he'll see through that. But anyway, you went and you courted, and in most cases, they were dating with purpose, not just because they were bored. Okay, they don't do that anymore. I'm trying to read the chats and talk at the same time. I'm multitasking here. But
come on, Pop, give it to him.
But what you understand is that you went with the family. You met the family. The family met you. Why? A couple reasons. Excuse me. One, so that you would know what kind of support system she had. Number one. Number two, you would know what kind of support system she had. You know what I'm saying? If she had 5 or 6 brothers, you already knew. I better do right, tighten up, because it can get ugly real quick. But more so, you spend time with the family, and as you spend time with the family, then the family got to know you. So there was no alone time in the onset. You might sit at one end of the table, she might sit at the other, but you was courting. And then when the family felt comfortable enough, or preferably the father felt comfortable enough, you might have what they call a chaperone date, where you went out with either big brother and sister or something like that, but you weren't alone. You were chaperone. So there was levels to that. And for a long time, I used to think, oh, that's because they don't trust the guy, they don't trust the girl. But what it comes to do, what that allows you to do, it allows you to see people, how they behave in their purest form, because they can't fake the funk in front of their parents, in front of their family. Because the family gonna be able to pull them to the side and say, that ain't you. Why you acting like that? You know what I'm saying? They're also gonna give them advice. Oh, your girl, he kind of cute. I don't know, or yo, bro, she fine, But and I'm doing it in layman's terms. But the family took a part in that. Why? Because you have to understand that in relationships, and we're dealing strictly here with men and women that are in a relationship, this is supposed to be for life. I'll pause there, let that sink in like Ben Gay. If you're gonna go to that extent, if you're looking for a relationship, see, and that defines some people that are looking for a good time, some people that are looking for status quo, some people that are looking for pegs in their belt, because all of us coming up, boy, if you can get 3, 4 of them, boy, you was a player, and you was running around, and the more women you had, the more status quo you had. But that was society setting that standard. So anyway, so now we fast forward, because there's more to that, but we fast forward to today's day and age. And so I'm gonna ask Kareenia, we're gonna start ladies first. What is it that you feel that society has you to look for in a man compared to what you look for in a man? First, and before you answer that, are you in a relationship? She said she's single. Turn your mic on, girl, so they can hear you.
Sorry. My daughter came in, I forgot I muted.
That's okay. Single, any children?
Yeah, I have two. I have a daughter and I have a son.
See, and that's also a sign of the times, because back 30 years ago, that would have been a question.
Right.
And not that it's a bad thing, because things happen, don't get me wrong. But again, times have changed. Okay, so again, I pose a question. What do you think the standards for society are for a woman towards a man versus what your mindset is?
I think society makes it seem like the men has to do nothing but provide. And so I think it puts a damper on the men because all they want to do is provide because that's the only thing
Somebody
that
mute their phone. Y'all mute your phones until we get to you.
they
Okay,
think
there
that
we go.
that's all they should do is provide. They don't know that they're supposed to help out around the house or whatever. Because like now, society is hard to raise a household where only one person's working. Like multiple people need to work now. You know what I mean? We can't afford it. So what they do is, oh well, he's working, so he thinks that he should come home and not help cook, clean, and do the rest. It was like, well, I'm doing that too. I'm working, cooking, cleaning, and I'm doing all of that. You know what I mean? So it's like society puts a damper that the men just need to work and then the woman takes care of the house. But what about the woman that's working and taking care of the house? Like they need to, give some room to women too. Like it shouldn't be all on women. Like I had experience with my daughter where her father, took her to the doctor's appointments with me. Like he never missed a doctor's appointment. Whereas my son's father, he's more provider. He likes to give money and stuff like that, and that's his thing. And then like give his opinion, but I'm doing everything by myself. But that's the different views of how the men's are and how they're raised. So it's like hard to say, hey, this is what society wants or expects you to do. So, and a lot of men don't know how to do multiple. They automatically seem that they only want to do one. And I'm not saying all men. Like, there's a lot of
Right,
men out here
right.
that know only how to do one thing at a time, and they don't know how to combine it because they're worried about what their friends saying or the next person saying, and they're not worried about what's in their household. Like, that's the only person that should matter is your wife, your spouse, or your kids, you know what I mean? Like in your household. But society has put a damper, and females too, you know what I mean? Like, oh, what my friend think about my man? Oh, okay, well, you feel this way, So it's like everybody wants to care about what other people think instead of thinking, okay, this is how I feel and not how they feel.
Okay, and point well taken. So if I had to sum up what you were saying, is you're looking for a man that's willing to be 50-50, whether he's a provider or not, take care of home plate, help share in the raising of the children, help share
People say
in the
50
upkeep of
50.
the
It's
house.
I give you 100, you give me
Okay,
100. Like
I'll
there's
take
no
that.
50 50.
So
It's
equal.
everybody does their part in the household. Like
Okay,
I don't think, oh well, you do that and then I do this. That 50 50, I like I said, was you work and then I do the rest. You know what I mean? Like that's how
right.
I feel. It's 50 50. Or you're providing more because you make more because of certain jobs or whatever. But I think we should all come and contribute as much as we can, and that will give less on you versus, one person working more, doing more versus the other.
So what you're bringing to the table as a female, you don't mind working, you don't mind
I
coming
love
home,
working.
you don't mind coming
I can't
home.
be the one that sits down and does nothing. I can't.
You
I'm
can't.
a person that likes to move. I have to be something like it drives me crazy. Like I was off for 4 months having my son, and that was my job. You know what I mean? I was still doing something. Like I can't just sit down. Like that's not me.
Okay. Society would mandate or not mandate. I keep using that word. There's a lot that you hear from women that oh, he's the man, so he's supposed to be the sole provider. He's supposed to take care of my
Say it
nails.
again.
He's supposed to take care of my hair. He's supposed to give
Say
me
it
money
again.
to go shopping. I'm just supposed to sit back and look cute. You know what I'm saying? And because we're taking it outside of the realm of children. When children come into play, it's a whole different perspective. But in the onset, a lot of them are looking for a man that's going to support them 100%. And this is what we
Come on.
talked about Build-A-Bear, Because
Come on.
what is the mindset? Do you want a man or do you want a bank in that
So
format?
A sponsor.
A
yeah, so
sponsor.
I'm
Sponsor.
A
I'm gonna
sponsor.
jump in here real
Come
quick
on.
because I definitely want to talk about that. So in from a man's perspective, you know, when men are out, you know, courting or dating or things of that nature, one of the key factors is that men can typically get caught up in dating multiple women and will build what we call a hydra. And what people don't know is that a hydra comes from Hercules. So for anybody that's watched Hercules before, y'all know what that giant ugly monster is. It's called the hydra. So what happens is men date multiple women and they start picking off what they like about every
Each
single
other.
woman, right? And they create this monster. They build out a monster in their head that's not even real. And then they try to go tame that monster. Now, what happens when you cut off one head of a hydra?
It grows
3 more grow in
back.
its place, right? Yeah.
It grows
So
back.
what men don't understand is that we have to be very intentional about who we talk to. You can't talk to 6. You cannot have a rotation. You can't go to the gym and put 6 months to 18 months worth of work in of delayed gratification, meal prep, and take supplements, but then try to crack a female in the first week. You can't do that. That doesn't even make sense. So building something, right, versus a type is different. A type of man is a man that has characteristics already lined out in him. So when you're looking for a type, it's not he's got to be 6 feet, he's got to have a 9-incher, he's got to make $500,000. Those are preferences. You're building a bear. At that point, you're building a man. And that man doesn't even exist. And that is the biggest delusion that women on social media, they preach that to each other sometimes, and then they see these social media gurus, these dudes get on the internet with a fake suit on and some shades and be like, yeah, women got to chase me. I ain't chased a woman in 2 years. Are you serious? So let's break this down in an animal world, right? In the animal kingdom. Does the zebra have relevance because it goes around the lion, or does the zebra have relevance because it's being chased by the lion?
Mm.
Can
I'm just saying.
I
Well,
cut in
I
2
think
seconds?
I'm gonna be
Men are
honest with
the
you.
same way.
I
They
want to chime
feel
in
the
and say
same
one
thing
thing.
as
Go ahead,
females.
Marc.
Yeah, let her
Know
go.
that
Let her go.
sometimes they're like, oh, well, this is what my friend has, so this is what I want. So it's like
Comparing.
I think we need to
Comparison.
stop saying it's a female thing versus a man thing, because there's a lot of men and a lot of women that think the same way.
It's unisex
And I think that we
nowadays.
need to stop saying,
Right.
oh, well, that sex does this and that sex does this. Because if you look at it, we all do the same thing.
Yeah.
We all do.
Mark, go ahead.
Yeah, I honestly feel that everybody has, again, their own perspective, and everybody was loved differently. Okay, so everybody's definition of love is different. Like, for one, me personally, where I got my definition from love was from the Lord, because He loves me unconditionally. He's loved me in a way no one else ever has or has ever shown me. So the only thing that the only love I know that's true is from Him. So anybody that has attached or connected to me through Him, I already know that they were already aligned in my life. So it was already predestined. It was already a divine timing with them. You know, whenever they did insert them in my life, or whenever He did put them in my life, He made it a divine time. You know what I'm saying? That's why God's timing, you know, it goes beyond our own understanding and our own timing, because we want things when we want them, even when we're not ready for them. You know what I'm saying?
And it's
And
important.
we're all guilty of that. And I do believe, again, we can't just bash the women here, because men do the exact same thing. There are men that act like women, and women act like men. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
So
yes.
you can't say, oh, men all do this, men ain't this, men ain't that, and women ain't this, women ain't that. Because I know on both sides, it just depends on what you're accustomed to, what you visually have seen, what you've experienced. I mean, it goes back all the way in your past. It goes from how you were raised to how people basically dealt with you. You know, as far as everybody's so-called response. Everybody has a different response. My response may be completely different than Pierre's,
Right.
but we might have some of the same similarities, but our households might be ran completely different,
True.
because what works for me may not work for him. How I was raised was that you go off of your strengths and weaknesses. So what does that exactly mean? When it comes to your strengths, what are they? Write them down. When it comes to your weaknesses, what are they? Write them down. Nobody should know that better than you. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't know what they are, get a third party perspective. That's why you have a spouse. That's why you have a helpmate or friend or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Or just people in your circle that see you and interact with you on a daily. You know what I'm saying? There may be things that you have been showing behavior wise that you don't even know that you do. You know what I'm saying? So it's very good to just be open-minded to even receiving any type of understanding of who you are and how you operate. You know, you have to even start with self. You even before you join into a relationship or a partnership or whatever it is.
Come on, Mark.
Because if you don't know yourself, how are you going to align that with what somebody else got going on? You know, because you guys are supposed to be coming together as one with a common goal. You know what I'm saying? To basically be there on the up and up, highs and lows, however that goes in life for you. You know what I mean? Because again, each one of us are dealing with certain scenarios and certain situations. You can have things that again could happen or fester in the home that might trickle out outside. You know what I'm saying? And you don't ever mix, you know, stuff that's going on at home outside. You know what I mean? Just like I was taught, you have to speak at people a certain way, and there's a certain time to talk about certain things. You know what I mean? We ain't talking about, you know, how you felt about what I did last night in front of company or in front of people in public. You know what I'm saying? So again, it's just a matter of the level of respect and again your approach on how you deal with people, how you are even dealing with yourself. You know what I mean? A lot of us don't go to therapy. A lot of us aren't in the right mental capacity or mental space to even be entertaining people. You know what I'm saying? We haven't even gotten our own ducks in a row, but yet we want this, that, and the third from somebody else. And a lot of it is because it's a lack of accountability for own self, for oneself. You know what I'm saying? When you lack your own accountability and responsibility in your own life, you expect somebody else to save you or help you. You know what I mean? So again, do you want a real relationship, or do you want, like we were saying, a Build-A-Bear, somebody that's gonna, you know, come in and save you? You know,
comfort, a comfort animal.
Now this sparked actually a whole nother conversation me and Pierre had was about the Lord, because once again, women that we feel that aren't aligned with what God wants for them in their life, they're looking for a savior. They're looking for somebody to help them, to save them from whatever duties or whatever issues or whatever things they're going on and facing on their own. Because we were not created to be here on earth alone. You know what I'm saying? So we all are vulnerable, and we do yearn for that company, you know what I'm saying, of the opposite sex. Now, you know, you also have your other genders that like to do what they want to do. That's all on everybody's own personal journey and perspective. Like, that's all on what you like. That goes again once with preference. You know, what is your preference? You know what I mean? But we're going based off of what we more or less believe. You know what I mean?
Let me jump in there and say this.
Go ahead.
Because Mark said a mouthful, and it is imperative. All of those things you can sum up in one thing, and that is knowledge of self.
Mm-hmm.
And in order for you to be in a relationship with somebody else, like I said before, either you're living and growing. Relations means that we're going to relate. But first and foremost, we got to communicate. But before I can communicate, I have to have substance. I have to know what my values are. I have to know what I will and will not tolerate. I have to know what I'm bringing to the table, how far I'm willing to go. Because if I don't have that, then I'm going to be led with every wind. You know, oh, she's cute. Oh, she's this. Oh, she that. You're not looking for anything that is tangible. You're looking to fulfill whatever it is at that moment. And so, first and foremost, an individual, before you enter into a relationship, and this has been said time and time again, if you can't love nobody else until you first love yourself, you have to be content being who you are by yourself. Because in this way,
collection plate, Pops. Pass the collection plate.
Then and when you're happy with yourself, then you'll be able to join with somebody else. First and foremost, you're gonna attract that which you put out.
Exactly.
Spirits transfer. Energy is very transferable. And when you're putting out a positive energy in a certain, and you carry yourself a certain way, you're gonna resonate with people in that same aura. You understand what I'm saying? If you want somebody fast, quick, and in a hurry, you're gonna find them at the club fast, quick, and in a hurry, because your intentions are on the same level plane, and then and you're satisfying what each one of them wants at that moment. But if your thoughts are, well, I want a partner, I want somebody in longevity, you got to first look at yourself in the mirror and say, what are you bringing to the table? Because in everything, you have to present yourself in a way that it would be received so that they understand you. And that's what happens with, even Pierre talked about that. That's what happens with perception is not always reality. You'll see a guy in the club with a fly suit, gold chains, fat car, pocket full of money, but he lived with his mama. That's his only suit, and that's his mama car, and that's his rent money.
Kareenia, hey, you should touch on that. Talk about that real quick. Jump into that, Kareenia. Talk about it. Talk about that.
Playing the part, I am a lover.
Looking the part and playing the part is two different things.
Exactly.
I love myself. I literally was married for 6 years, and I tell you, I love that man with every ounce of me. I literally broke down and cried every day before I left that man. But my thing is that I loved him more than myself. Like, I needed his validation. So that's why I'm like, no, I don't believe that you can't love somebody more than you love yourself, because I worship that man. You know what I mean? Like, he could lie to me. I knew he was lying to me, and I would literally be in denial, even though I knew he was lying to me. You know what I mean? So it was like, I love that man. I love the hell out of that man. You know what I mean? So it's like, I do feel like I'm a person that pours into you. Like, I will literally take everything.
See,
if I fall in love with you, I will literally take everything from myself.
And that's fine, as long as you don't allow that to consume you.
Oh, it did.
And what I mean by that is you change
Right.
who you are to be.
And is that being reciprocated?
Thank you.
Is that same energy being reciprocated?
No, he said that you can't love somebody unless you love yourself. And I was trying to prove that is wrong, because I experienced that. So I was like, yes, I can love somebody more than I love myself. And I experienced that. And I grew from that. Like,
but
he needed to tell me I was beautiful, or I didn't feel like I was beautiful. You know what I mean? So
right. I understand what you're saying. But it gave you.
I'm beautiful. I'm like, okay, what else? Tell me something else. Like, I know I'm beautiful. I don't need your validation anymore. Like, I don't
this is my question. I have a question. So, were you wooed by his words, or you were wooed by his action? Because I feel that a man that is on his purpose and that is for you and for God is always in a sense of wanting to serve. How can I serve you? How can I be of value to you? How can I help your life? How can I help you solve problems that you're having already? If he's not trying to constantly ask you these things, or ask you, have you eaten? These little things, these little nuggets, these little questions tell you everything. He started off doing
the perfect guy.
So
he
was the perfect guy.
Wait. Okay, listen. We gotta.
Like, he was doing like the stuff like opening my car door.
He stopped doing
like, he was the God. Like, we went to church and everything. Like, every Sunday we were in church, everything. You know what I mean? So he had the characteristics. As soon as we got married,
right. But you can go to church and not get fed. You understand?
But see, that's a whole. Hold on, Mark. I don't want to.
That's a whole other ballgame.
We don't want to. And trust me.
We don't pump the brakes. We don't want to.
Trust me. I don't want to. And I'm not. It's not that I don't want to deal with spirituality, but I want to deal with that as a separate classification, because that in itself goes to what your standards are. If you're looking for a man or a woman that is devoted to God, then it's like if you're going to buy vegetables, you don't go to the bakery. So if you're looking for a godly man, you don't go to the club. You're not going to change. And I'm from experience, you can't change grown folk.
But again, the devil goes to
No,
church
I'm
too.
saying that's when
Right.
we were like before when we were dating. He was the godly man. He did this. He did that. You know what I mean? As soon as we got married, it was like
So
school
let's
first.
so
So at that point, he felt like he had you,
right.
Yeah.
and
So
he can't do
so
no
let's do this.
wrong. He's
Let's do
always
this,
gonna
right?
be there. She's always gonna love me because now we tied in. We locked in.
So
There's
Right.
nothing
so
she
So
can
He
yeah,
do.
was.
he did just enough. He did
Yeah.
just enough.
right. So what I want people to keep in mind is that if we're like being in a relationship, you have a type, right? You have your spiritual man, your traditional man, your non-traditional man, your free-spirited man. All these men have characteristics that are assigned to them. And so Kareena, understanding like people and T. Murray made a very good point that being equally yoked is a very important thing. One person could have a relationship with their spiritual creator and the other person just know about the
Right.
spiritual creator, not an actual relationship. So I will tell
Right.
people this. There's a certain thing called discernment, and men and women must be in tune with their spirituality to understand that
Mm-hmm.
concept. A tree is known by the fruit
That it
that it
bears.
bears. Apple trees don't bear bananas, and orange trees don't bear pears. So the ultimate reality is that we as people have to use a certain level of discernment. If your actions and your words, and Talanda, you had a very great point, that actions speak way louder than words. And while we create these narratives in our mind, if we as people do not test and see where this individual is prior to the sacred energy exchange. Y'all can take the acronym how you want it. That's exactly how I said it, because I know Instagram be acting funny sometimes. So when the highest level of connection is sacred energy exchange, and it's an X, not an E. So SE, y'all know what it is. So at that point, if you're connecting at that type of level before you really test this person out, and you don't know what type they are, and you're building, as you continue to do this, you end up building your own bear and you don't even know it.
I
By the
think
time you
that
look up, you done been in 6 relationships, you done built you a
But
bear
you know what?
and you don't even know it.
But I'm gonna say this.
Go ahead.
I do believe people at times they date and they do deal with people and they kind of groom them in a sense. They're grooming you to what they with their personal perspective. I mean, their personal preference is. So whatever they don't like about you, they'll probably do things vindictively to get you to adapt to what they want and how they want you to respond to what they want. You know what I'm saying? It may not necessarily be something that you like, but and it might necessarily it might at the moment rattle you,
I
but you
like that,
might
Mark.
eventually,
I can
So
become
let me so
exactly
let me
I
look at
can
what
it.
they
do
want.
Look
that.
at it.
I
Just
Look
do
at
do
it.
just
that.
to have them
Look.
around, just keep
Wait.
them around.
true.
Wait. Look.
I do
Because
that.
Look at
Like
it
I
from
can
this
normally
love
point.
him.
it's just
Like
like
I
you
can
said,
walk him to
you want
Michigan.
somebody's
Only
approval.
one of us can talk at a time.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Kareem.
So everybody wants somebody's approval, right?
True.
So besides your own approval, you have to have what? A third party perspective, right?
No.
Somebody else's approval. Like I'm not wearing nice clothes for somebody for just me to like them. I'm doing that so more than just myself would admire them, right? So we again, like we said, society is giving these things, advertising these things to us, telling me this is what's real, this is what's sexy, this is what's ugly, this is what's pretty, right? And we going it based off of what status is telling us, and status is based off of what? Money. 9 times out of 10, it's based off money.
So
For the most part, as far as what we watch, most of the entertainment, like all of the entertainers that we watch, right? They're in some type of industry selling a product, right? Just like we're doing. We all are selling a product. We
I'm glad
all
you said
are
that because that
trying
was the
to
next
put
move.
our businesses out there, right? Selling something, selling a service or a product. So it's no different. It's no different. You're
so
literally
so let me
getting
let me
them.
let me drop this in
Go
there.
ahead, go
So
ahead, go ahead.
Karina, from a female's perspective, do you feel like women are at a disadvantage because they society is selling them an idea of a bear
Yeah.
versus the idea of a relationship?
I'm Caribbean, so our main thing is marriage. Like, y'all need to get married. You should have been married by now. Like, I don't know why you're not married now. Like, that's like still to this day. Like, my mom's like, "Oh, are you gonna marry him? Are you gonna marry him?" He's like, oh, does he have money? Oh, you should marry a man with money. I always thought you were going to marry a man for money. So it's like our
See,
culture teaching
money.
us that we
That's it.
have to marry, you know what I mean? We should be married by a certain age. We have kids by a certain age. Like, that's what we're taught.
Biological
We're
clock.
supposed to be this by a certain age, or we're too old. Like, I tell my daughter all the time, you're not dating until like 18, 20. Like, and I don't even want you to really date. I really want you to get to know yourself. Like, I don't want you worrying about a man. Like, she's like, oh, I want a kid by 18 because I had a kid by 18 and she felt like I did really well. But I'm like, I don't want you to be like me. I want you to do better than me. And so I was married by 25, which I regret, you know what I mean? But, you know what I mean? It made me who I am. Like, I love myself now. But my thing is that if I had waited, you know what I mean? Like, at least 30 to start actually dating, I would have got to know myself. You know what I mean? I would have traveled the world. I would have did this. I would have did that. But I felt like because I was forced or rushed into dating, and that's all I was known for, even though I got my master's and all that stuff. But my main thing my family was telling me, it was like, why aren't you married? You need to have babies. Like, because in our family we all had hysterectomies early. So
Wow.
thought that we need to hurry up and have babies.
I got you. Hey, Pops, can you walk through a little bit about, because you're obviously a dad. So raising your children up in the way that they should go, so when they're older they won't depart from it. Like making sure your kids know right from wrong. Like expand on that idea, because that also, like Mark was hinting at, like he actually made the point of how we were raised at home, where we come from, kind of that grooming, right? Is it then leaks outside to our relationships and our connections. So expand on that a little bit, man, because we need that wisdom.
Let me drop this, and it keeps going back to the same thing. I mean, I'm listening to the import. All the import is awesome, but it keeps going back to the concept of knowing yourself, what your values are. Different people, as Mark said, different people are raised different ways, and so even family will implement certain beliefs and cultures that they feel their children should follow. And I'm all for, it's like I say all the time, it's like fishing with a net. When you fish with a net, you take out what's good, you throw away what's bad. Instead of fishing with one line, you only fishing for a certain type of fish. When it deals with life, and I learned this, segueing right into raising children. Not everybody's going to end up with the same mentality. Not everybody is going to follow your values 100%. And this is a lot of parents make the mistake of trying to force their children to live a certain lifestyle, thus trying to live through the child what they didn't have.
Right.
It's one thing to say, hey, this is what I feel, this is what, this, that, and the other. And what's missing in the home today, instead of the value being poured into the individual to have because when you come to the table and y'all are hitting on a lot of subjects. This is sales 101. Either you're going to convince them or they're going to convince you.
Right.
You have to present yourself in a format. However, are you on the bargain shelf or are you on the top value shelf? And what I mean by that is when you go in and you have certain expectations of what you want from a relationship, you have to maintain true to those core values after they've been tested for you. Because again, everything that your parents said, you got to be married at a young age. Well, we live in a situation now where, like you opened up the show, it mandates it's almost imperative that you have a 2-family income or 2-income family. Because even roommates, why do you think there's roommates? Because the economy forces us into that. But does that mean that because you're in that situation that you lower your values or lower your standards? You're not playing the game where you go under the pole, limbo, and see how low you can go. You're setting the mark, you're setting the standard, and you're saying there is certain places I will compromise, but there's certain avenues in compromising. It's an equal give and take. You're not always going to agree on the same thing, but if you can agree to disagree, then you've reached an agreement. And so what that means is you have to have the core values going in. Growing up with kids, I had a son and a daughter. and I had to teach my daughter different than I taught my son because there's different values. What happened was I had to let my daughter know from a man's standpoint. And people might have said that was wrong. I see you, Mark. Give me 1 second.
All right.
People might have
All
said that
right.
was wrong. I was like, no, I need to educate you on man's game so that you don't fall stupid to the games that these Negroes, let's just keep it a buck, that these Negroes is playing. Anybody can go. And listen, just because you stand in the garage don't make you a car. Just because you go to church don't make you saved. He
Come
might
on.
be going to church just to get in them panties. Let's go all the way to the real.
Come on.
Or he may be doing all of these things. So what happens is you have to have a certain intuition that's called what Pierre said. You have to have a certain discernment to know what's good. And the thing is a lot of people turn that voice down low because they just want to satisfy this, but they're willing to compromise that. You can't do that because what's going to happen in the end, the equation is not going to turn out right. You have to stand to your core. And if it means a sacrifice, then look at it this way. That just wasn't the one. That don't mean that's no reflection on you. You get a puzzle put together, you look at the piece and you try to put it in there. That doesn't mean throw away the piece. It just wasn't the right fit. You have to find the right fit for that puzzle. But you don't go and cut the piece up. You don't cut the other piece up because then you're altering. And that segues me into what a lot of women say and a lot of women do. I think women find it harder because you got to have the perfect this, the perfect that, the perfect this. Well, we talked about a scenario. If you go and you buy a car, after 20 years, it's considered a classic. After so many years, it's considered an antique, as long as it was in its original condition. If you had a lot of aftermarket parts, it devalued the value of the car, therefore did not make it authentic. Y'all out these people out there getting BBLs, you're getting facelifts, you're getting implants, you're doing all of this stuff. And what's happening is you're destroying the original. You need to find somebody that's going to love you for who you are, not what they can get from you. Do they like you or do they like what you give them? And that's where it falls into the scenario that a lot of people say, oh, wow, oh, he might not be this, but he's that. He might not. I don't mind paying for him all the time because he ain't got no job, but he tall and he look good. You're compromising. And, actually, you're settling.
Boy,
You're not
you done said a
compromising.
word.
Yeah, come on, Mark, say something. Some people know right from wrong because how they were raised. I was raised by more than my brother, who's only 8 years older, and that's okay. But at certain point, you got to come to a level of accountability for your own self. It's one thing if you don't know, and it's even biblical.
I mean, now I know, but I mean,
now you know.
At that age, you know what I mean? Like at that age, you know what I mean? Like I was more so away
Unfortunately,
from home
sometimes
because I'm the baby. You know what I mean? So I had to get away because they like to spoil me and they weren't letting me grow up. So I was like, I gotta move away. So it was like moving to the South. I learned so much stuff down here than I did in New York. Like it was like I had to separate myself from my whole family and venture off to grow. Because it was like, if I stayed there, it was like they were consuming, oh, you got to do this, you got to do this. And that's all I hear. So it's hard, you know what I mean? Like trying to get out of that, like breaking out of how I was raised because I'm a people pleaser. And so I'm breaking out of that. But I'm a people pleaser, and it was like, oh, I do this for validation. I do this for validation. And so my goal was always to make my family happy. Like, oh, this is what I feel they want me to do.
Stop right there. And that was
but does that make you happy?
You was trying to make your family happy, but not
that's
you
not
happy.
making yourself happy.
You see what I'm saying?
No, that's what I'm saying.
And I listen, I'm all for family.
It's better than being happy for you.
Exactly. Instead of them realizing what you were, it eluded me.
Say this.
Come on, Mark.
I want to
say something else because it was right there.
I want to say this. I believe that some of us were loved too. There's two different ways to be loved. You can be loved, just generally loved, and then there's love for survival, right? Some of us were loved, right, for survival. So meaning you would go through so much stuff, right, just to make it. And you feel like this is how you make it. This is what a relationship is. I got to go through this to make it on the other side of a good thing. Because there's no good thing without something bad with it.
Right.
So I got to deal with the bad to get to the good.
Right.
And that's what a lot of women do. They invest all their good years dealing with the bad, trying to get to the good, thinking, oh, I'm building something here, when really they're just allowing the person to tear them down. So they're thinking, oh, I'm making leeway. Well, not, I don't want to say, well, I want to say compromising. I'm trying to compromise, not more or less compromise my, like everything that I believe in, you know what I'm saying? Just to be with this person, because you can compromise your character just to be with somebody. You can compromise more or less your whole life, you know what I'm saying? Based off of what somebody else wants, you know what I mean? And you just trying to validate their wants and needs, you know what I'm saying? But again, it all goes back to, like you said, your upbringing, and you get in touch with who you are in self.
Well,
you know,
I think that
once you know what you're able to do, that's when you know what type of help you need to help you do and accomplish what you need to get done. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like it takes a special individual to do that and bring that out of you. You know what I mean? Because, for example, your circle right now, I don't know about you guys, but me personally, I have very few in my circle. And those individuals that I can name in one hand, they all can bring something significant to me, that brings something out of me. It's birthed something out of me that wasn't already, that was either already there, or that they saw within me that helped me grow to get it out. See what I'm saying? A lot of the time we get in relationships wanting to help people become the person that we view them to become. Just like when you have a child, you already know what you expect the child to be. So you're gonna grow, you're gonna try to lead them in a way to where you want them to become what you see them as. You know what I mean? Whether it's a better version of you, whether it's because a lot of people, they go off of what they've seen. Like for me, growing up, my hero was my father. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wanted to be like my dad. That's who I was around. So I'm gonna naturally want to be like him. I want to do what he does. You know, he's got everything I want. How do I get access to the things that I want in life? Oh, I gotta act a certain way. I gotta do certain things. I gotta treat people a certain way. Like, it's levels to it, but at the same time, you have to have a certain type of understanding. You can't just do these things and not have understanding. Just like you can tell people what you want, but if they don't understand based off of how you're explaining it, then it's going on deaf ears.
I think
Right.
even on
So,
that
Marc,
note, even on that note, when it comes to people dealing with you, you control the narrative, because people will only treat you the way you allow them to treat you. People
that
will
is a very
only
good point,
people will
Pops.
only judge you by what they see, not what they
Correct.
hear. And
Right.
Correct.
and the point that I wanted to make earlier was, I used to tell, because I have two sons, I used to tell them, you got to be careful how you treat women, because
Yeah, because you can have a
one day,
daughter later,
there you go,
and then
one day you're gonna
there
have
you
a daughter,
go.
and everything
Everything
that you
that was
do,
done to your daughter, or that they used to do to the women, is done to your daughter. And then how would you feel?
now
You know. So yeah, you're right.
that being said, it's imperative that the proper ingredients are there. Like, I've used this analogy a million times. I can give everybody a pound of meat and tell you to make me spaghetti, and I guarantee you that we're going to come up with 4 different renditions of
Absolutely.
spaghetti, but it's still
Absolutely.
beef. It's still hamburger. So when it comes to dealing with children, and I think I want to get his name right, T. Murray put in there, it's because you have children raising children. Well, the thing is, even with children raising children, there's the core values deemed by society have changed so much. The mandate on and the pressures on society, this is not an excuse, but it's causing the individual to cave in, because you think that, oh, she's a single woman, she got 2 kids. You know, in certain people, they would think, oh, that's it. you know, she ain't gonna find nobody. Nobody wants a woman with 2 kids. But then you're selling yourself short. And like we started out the show, it all deals with self. And I think each and every one of us has a measure of an inferiority complex until we come and we face our fear. You don't know what's in the dark until you turn on the light. I keep saying that. And so in order for you to understand why people treat you the way you do, you can't blame people. You got to blame yourself because you keep allowing it to happen over and over, relationship and relationship. Is it because you see mama being treated that way, so you felt that was the norm? Or you seen daddy do it this way and you felt that was right? There comes a point in time where every tub got to sit on its own bottom. And what that means is, yes, it's okay to have all these different opinions, but at the end of the day, you brush your teeth, you comb your hair, you put on your clothes. So you got to be first and foremost accountable to you. And if you don't like what you're attracting, change what you're looking for, because what you're looking for is making you behave in such a way that it's attracting the people that you really don't want. So instead of meeting your values and meeting you on a certain level, you compromise. I know he's not that, but he's this. So what are you doing? At that point, now you've gotten a string and you've tied it around yourself and you're giving them leverage, because now what they're doing is they're pulling the strings to make you behave a way that's pleasing to them. I want somebody to love me for me. I say all the time, not for what I can do for them. Everything that's good to you is not good for you. Just because the man can do all this, this, and this, but he's not caring. He's not affectionate. He's very business. He's a great provider. He's all of that. But if you're missing an element, then you got to make the strong choice to say, well, is what I'm missing, is what I'm getting more valuable than what I'm missing? Am I going to sell myself out? And that's what happens in a lot of relationships. They falsify affection so that they can draw to one another. And then when the sex is gone, which is really being misconstrued, because sexual relations were designed as an outpouring of an affection within one another, and it was basically designed for reproduction. It's just an outpouring of love that you physically engage. But that don't mean nothing. It's been proven wrong when you can sleep with a girl one night, kick out your house in the morning, and go pick somebody else up that afternoon. And it's not love, it's sex.
Pops, look, you throwing the Bible at somebody. You hear me? You throwing this book at somebody.
What you're doing it under the precept is, from a man's standpoint, the more women I get, the more of a man than I am. From a woman's standpoint, I could break his back. I got the perfect man. I got the one on Monday that pays the rent, the one on Tuesday that cleans the house, the one on Wednesday. You see what I'm saying? You're building different concepts. So instead of getting everything in one-stop shop, you're satisfying, you're settling, and you're reducing yourself to accept, I'll be this to him, I'll be that to him. Spike Lee made a movie called She's Gotta Have It. And she
Come on.
Okay,
let's
all
go.
kind of men. But at the end of the day, she wasn't herself. And if you can't find yourself, then you're playing a role in somebody else's life. You're not living life. You're living a role in somebody else's life, because you're doing whatever they need for you to do for you to get the gratification that you want. If you want him to fly you out and you got to bend over and back it up on him, which really you don't feel right, because in your heart of hearts, you don't want your daughter backing up on nobody. You want her to be respected, but you're doing that to get flown out. You're selling yourself out. So put a higher price tag on yourself and stop selling out to these cheap men and women, because women do the same thing. Women do the same thing. If he don't bring me the paycheck, if he don't pay for all that, I don't know. If he ain't like Zeke said, if he ain't 6'12" and 13 and all this other stuff, but come on now.
Listen, y'all. So I know. Listen, we can go all day. I know this is gonna definitely leak into a part 2 for sure.
We already
so what we gonna Right. So what we gonna do, right? So what we gonna do is we gonna do this. We're gonna do a final thought from everybody. We're gonna start with Kareenia. Kareenia, is there any advice you want to give to the women out there as far as a relationship, like a type?
Wait, no, flip it, Pierre, flip it. I see what you said, but I won't flip it. What do you feel you need to do as an individual to be happy with the man of your dreams? What are you willing to do? What is your planned concept? I already know what
Right
Mark
now,
is.
I'm working on loving myself so I accept who I am. Because if I can't accept who I am, how can I expect somebody else to accept who I am? Like, I'm going to keep changing and changing to be who the next person wants me to be. So I realize that I have to love myself. And that's one of the things. Like, I promise you, I started this business and I've been pouring so much into myself. It's like, oh, I'm not accepting that. Oh, I'm not accepting that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I had to start loving myself and pouring into myself so that I can see what I want. Like, whatever Sierra's prayer is, I want that. I want that.
All right, Mark.
I'm gonna say I want what the Lord wants for me, and why I say that is because I feel like He's the one that's gonna ultimately teach me how to love correctly and what that looks like. He's gonna show me what that looks like. He's gonna show me how to obtain it, how to maintain it, and make sure that I'm ready and equipped to love the person in the capacity of what they need to be loved in. You know, because God, like I said, once again, He sees us and He gives us grace every day. We have to be able to look at somebody else and do the exact same thing in the exact same way. And that's how you love like God loves you in the church. You know what I'm saying? You have to be able to love your significant other the same way. You know what I'm saying? But it starts with you. If you don't love yourself that way, then you can't possibly do that for someone else or help anyone else. You know, if you're in your own sinking ship. You know, so people that are looking for, validation or help or whatever it is, whether it's in their finances, whether it's in their emotional state that might be, more or less messed with, like again, everything in your mental ain't always 100% up to par. You know what I'm saying? So you have to make sure that you're being honest with yourself about that. And you need to, again, like I said, look for counseling or speak to somebody to where you can really voice how you honestly feel. Because we can sit up here and pray all day and tell you what the best thing looks like and what we should do and shouldn't do. But when the chips fall at the end of the day, how are you really living your life and how are you really happy in it?
There we go.
And that's going to be based on what you do about it each and every day. And that's a growing process. It's not going to happen overnight. You're not going to find somebody overnight. And even if you do, it's going to take more than just overnight to find out they're truly there for you.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they serve real purpose in your life.
Pierre?
You know what I'm saying? So only a friendship can build into something better. You know what I'm saying? So I would say start with that. Start with a friendship. Start with a friend.
Right.
You know, you don't always need the fireworks and all that. Just get, you know what I'm saying? Just start small. You know what I mean?
So you're
just have a conversation.
You're looking to just
start
start
with one
small. That's what you would.
conversation and build off that.
All right.
You know what I mean? Then that's when you can, add all those other layers to it. But again, life is that way. You know, I didn't figure it all out in one day, and I still haven't figured it all out. In my whole 36 years of living, I still haven't figured it all out. There's still things that I haven't birthed within myself that I haven't even tapped into yet. But maybe the right person will tap you into that, or maybe you getting connected with your creator even more to understand him. He'll give you that purpose that you're looking for. He'll give you those things that you feel like that you're lacking. You know, that way you can go out here in this world and actually be impactful.
All right.
There you go. There you go. I like that.
Pierre,
okay.
Close out.
There you go. There you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So everybody has said a whole lot of great stuff, and that I would have already said. So I'm gonna make this real easy for you. In order for you to be great, you always have to know who you are. And without a vertical connection, your horizontal connections are no good. So you have to get vertically connected so then that your horizontal connections can be great. And with that being said, make sure you know yourself. True story, y'all. I've always sought validation. I've been the shortest in my class, never got a whole bunch of women growing up. But I knew one thing, that I was blessed with a lot of talent, and God was amazing to me. And so I was blessed to have an amazing brotherhood. Shout out to my boy JB, Fred Dub, Marc, my boys JJ, Jamal, Jesse. The brotherhood is undefeated. So, fellas, if you out there and you listening, get you a brotherhood, men that hold you accountable on the same standard, willing to push you, willing to call you out on your mess when you procrastinating. Ladies, I issue that the same thing to you as well. Get you a sisterhood. Get around some women that's gonna push you, go after your dreams. Like, stop playing games, y'all. You all are here for a reason. My father told me this a long time ago. He said, son, you are here because somebody is going to need you. And the more time you waste, they're now sitting there waiting on you. So let's not do that anymore, y'all. Social media is just that. It's social media. It's an opportunity for us to reflect, connect, and exchange ideas. So be very careful what you take in. All right. And listen, a relationship is just that. It's a relationship, like Pop said. And if you're looking for a type, that's what you ought to be looking for. Stop building people, ladies and gentlemen. Stop building somebody. Stay back and look at yourself and then approach. Okay, fellas, pursue these women. Stop being zesty and being feminine. Stop waiting for a girl to talk to you. Oh my God. No, it's not necessary. The zebra does not chase the lion. The lion always chases the zebra because that gives the zebra the value. Go ahead, Pop.
And this is just part one for those. And there's so much I really want to get into, but let me say this: for all of you who joined, thank you so much. Make sure that you come back. We're going to do part two next week. We definitely have to do part two because, like I said, you can't get all of this in one setting. But let me say this: we started out the show and we talked about self-awareness. And to sum up a relationship, if I had to put it in a paraphrase, you want somebody that's going to be you to you. And what I mean by that is you want somebody that's going to complement and accent your qualities, and yet the things that they don't find that they can meet you at, or there's a slight difference, that they give you your space to be you instead of trying to diffuse that part of you. You understand what I'm saying? One might be, just in plain layman's terms, one might like to read books. And when they get in their quiet time, they want to go somewhere and read a book. That doesn't mean that she don't want to spend time with you. That doesn't mean that he don't want to spend time with you. That means that that's their time to read their book. And you have to get your feelings off of your sleeve. And you have to understand that that's a part of who they are. Right. And because you love them, you love the whole them. You can't just love the arm. You can't just love the leg. You have to fall in love with the whole being. And so what happens is we rush too much. There's a speed race to get to the end result. But you have to take your time and find those connectors on every level. And the ones that don't connect, you bridge the gap. In other words, they may not like going out and grocery shopping. And there's some men that don't want to go. They'd rather give you the money. Well, don't say that he's being lazy. Respect that from him, because now you're trying to change a part of who he is. And if it bothers you that much, then you consider where you're at. But there's some things, when two people come together in a relationship, they come to live together to learn how to habitate. It's cohabitation. It's like a partnership. You have a common ground, but along the way, you're going to encounter some things that you have to be open enough to communicate and see what's for the betterment of the relationship. You've birthed a third entity. That entity is you two together. It was 1 and 1. Now you've joined together. Even the Bible says that man leaves a woman and cleaves to his wife, and twain, they become one flesh. So if you want to stay scriptural, every man, the woman was taken from the side. The rib was from the side. She wasn't from the bottom. She wasn't from the top. She wasn't from the back. She was from the side, which means you're supposed to walk together. Find you a woman that complements you, because at the end of the day, your partner is a reflection of what you tolerate and what you stand for. So if you don't like what you see, check yourself. And then see where you're not living up to where you want to be. And if a person can't listen, there's too many women and there's too many men out there. If a person cannot accept you for who you are, to the extent that it's making you sit on the edge of bed at night, then it's bad. Listen, you can do bad by yourself.
Ooh. Hey, listen, say that for part two. Say that for part two.
Would you rather be in misery to be there, or would you rather be happy without them? That's a choice individuals got to make. We gonna cut it. We way over time. Listen, to those of you who tuned in, thank you, thank you, thank you. I know so many comments. I appreciate all y'all comments in the chat. We're gonna come back next week. We're gonna do a part 2 of Build a Bear, and then after that, because I want to give y'all this. We're gonna do a show called "How Can You Grab the Future When You Won't Let Go of the Past." That's we're gonna come back for that one. And but thank you again. This is your boy Pops. Shout out to again Exotic Pops. Shout out to Seasons with the apparel. If you want to see the show, go to Pops Gems at Pops Gems on YouTube. We're there every Monday night. We're here on Pops_Gems, Pops Gems, Pops Perspective. And coming soon, we're gonna have a call-in line for those. Even though the screen is full, you can call in and voice your opinion. I hope that tonight's show stirred up enough in you to start reanalyzing yourself. Next week, bring a pen and a pad, because we're going to take some notes, and we're going to make people better people. We're going to make you want more for yourself, because the more you want for yourself, the more you have to give to somebody else. I wish I had a microphone. The more you bring to the table, you see what I'm saying? The more that you can serve somebody. Now, some people needed to go plate. Some people needed to go, that's part 2, but some people just needed to go plate. Not everybody was meant to sit and eat at your table. That doesn't mean that you can't have a portion of something in their life, but they needed to go plate. And too many people are entertaining to go plates where they get the plate, they want to sit down and still eat at the table. Watch them. Again, till next week. Thank you, Kareenia. Marvelous. You're so beautiful. Thank you so much. And Marc, I'm gonna get with you because I got to get my fine on. I'm seriously gonna call you so we can talk. Pierre, as always, you already know. Thank you to all of my gemologists. Don't just watch the show, like it, follow it, because if you don't like what we said today, come back next week. We'll say something else. This is your boy Pops. We out of here tonight. Thank you. We'll see y'all next week. God bless.
Good night, guys.